Thank you, Lisa, for that beautiful rendition of that song, Eddie Watkins Jr.'s song. I was at the conference as well, and I had the opportunity of seeing him and listening to him sing that song in person. And it really is something in that song, that music that just really resonated in my soul. Grand Rising, Austin CSL. It is so wonderful to be here with you all today. And what a beautiful day this is as we're moving into the end of February. Can you believe this? Oh my gosh. One of the things when I looked at the topic for what we have for today, discomfort is the least of our concerns. And I thought about that and I started thinking, now this story that I'm telling, this talk that I'm telling is for me. You all are still just listening in. It may apply to some of you all, I don't know. But what I know is that spirit is tapping on my shoulder. It's tapping on your shoulder. Can you feel this? Do you know that when that vision, I know last Sunday it's like what pain pushes until vision pulls. This vision is pulling you. What is it that you're being pulled in to do? What is it that that spirit is calling you to do, has been calling you to do? Discomfort in this process of what may come up, that fear that may show up, that doubt of, can I do this? Am I good enough to do this? What will other people think if I step out and write this book or create this nonprofit or create a new business? How many times have you had this thought and spirit is pulling, saying, let's go. Come on, it's time. This is the time. And in this moment, discomfort truly is the least of our concerns. How many times have we been driving down the road or walked into a new neighborhood or a new store and thought, oh my gosh, it's like, and you see some items that you could have thought about creating your own self, some stuff that's on the shelves. I thought about that wrapped or, with the hood on the top of it or something, or this piece of necklace or jewelry or something. How many times have you had this idea and you've seen it somewhere else that someone else created that? What I realize is that when spirit is calling, it's not just calling just one person. That idea may drop into so many other people's consciousness and in their awareness. There are those that act on it first, moving through that discomfort, moving through that fear. We have that same opportunity. Spirit did not create in us a place of fear. When we're stepping into that knowingness of who we are and whose we are, there is that opportunity for us to say, okay, knees knocking, I'm going to start this nonprofit. Knees knocking, I'm going to write this book. Knees knocking, no matter what. If there's no one else standing right beside me, holding me up in the back, I know the God in me knows exactly what to do. What is mine to do is to know the what of what it is that I'm calling forth. The how is none of my concern until I start putting myself in thinking, well, how is this going to work out? How am I going to create this jewelry? How am I going to get this into the store? How am I? Let go of the how, because if you notice in that how place, you're in your head and you're allowing yourself to continue to keep thinking, how? How is this? The how is not ours. The what is. And when we get clear on what the what is, that tapping that spirit is doing, we'll know, let me just make a step. Let me write it out. One of the things that I do is that when I get these ideas, so that I'm not in my head trying to process it, I have to get it out of my system. So I start writing it out. I don't know what the what is of what I'm writing at the time. I just know what I'm hearing. I write out what the project is. And the thing that for me, I embody so much. It's like once I kind of get it, once I get what spirit is calling me to do, I embody it so that as I embody even the principles of our religious science, embodying the principles, knowing that God truly is all that there is. And when I start embodying that and moving in that groove, I'm watching Spirit do its thing in my life, sending people that I never thought would show up to support me in this goal. The same thing applies for you. When you allow yourself to trust that Spirit within you to guide you, to move you to what you're being called to do, to get out of your head, then you're allowing Spirit to do its thing, to lay out a path for you. Now, whether you choose to go down this path or not, that's a totally different story. That's up to you because we have choice. We can choose to say, okay, I'm going to walk down this path because Spirit is now, it starts feeling like Spirit is kind of like pushing me into what my next steps are. And then there could be times that, nope, I'm not ready for this right now. I'm going to make a U turn, come back around, and I'll sit over here. I'll wait till the next time. One of the things that I've realized is that when there's a calling that comes up for you, it doesn't go away. It may seem like it, you may not think about it for months or years at a time, but it's still buried within you. And so all of a sudden, something comes up because you've done some healing work. You've allowed yourself to be open to hearing what Spirit is calling you to do. And in this moment, all of a sudden, this idea pops back up into your mind. And you think, 10 years ago, I had this idea to start this nonprofit or to write this book. And I'm getting that notion again because there could be a conversation that you could overhear someone talking. You could be passing by someone in the grocery store, in the, in a spiritual community, wherever it is. There's someone that's talking about an idea that came to you 10 years ago. All of a sudden now Spirit has brought this back again for you to, oh, maybe it's time for me to do what Spirit called me to do years ago. Are you ready? In this process, discomfort is the least of our concerns because we move through the discomforts, say that 3 times like all together. The discomforts that come up allow us to evolve. It helps us to grow. It helps us to move through to the next steps. Because if we allow that discomfort, that fear to hold us back, we remain stuck. And so either you're moving in this place of love and you're trusting, or you're moving in this place of fear and you're not trusting. And when you're in that place of fear, it holds you back so it can, if you allow it to. And I've been there. I can attest to this. Of the times that I've allowed fear to hold me back to not say something or not to do something or not to act in a certain way or not to start something or change jobs sooner. I allowed my fear to hold me in those places. And in some of those cases, it has worked out for me. But what I know is that there's still something greater that's calling me into doing something much more than what I can think of in my human mind. Because there's the one mind, and that mind knows exactly what it is that we're here to do, what we're capable of doing, how we're capable of showing up in the world, because it created us. And what I know is that it does not create junk. It creates this beautiful image of itself. We're that human expression that's moving out into the world. God wants to know, what does it feel like to be Deb as minister or Deb as the supervisor or, Reverend Rainbow as minister of this amazing community, or even Reverend Mary or even Lisa as like with her amazing music. How does God express itself as each one of us individualized? We have these gifts and talents that lie within us. Are you ready now to open it up and allow yourself to allow those gifts to flow out? Spirit is tapping on your shoulder to move forward, to step into what you're being called here to do in this moment. You may have had a thought before you jumped onto this call today, on this gathering, that Spirit may have given you something to think about, to process. And you may say, okay, I'll get to it when the service is over. If that's the case, write it down so that you don't forget it, but write it down so that you can get it out of your head, trying not to think about it while we're in service right now. Because what I know is that it's still going to be there. But when you start writing it down, when you start, and I record it sometimes because if I don't have paper, I have a recorder on my phone. I'll record it to get it out of my system. And then that way I can allow room for something more information to come to me, more of the how to come to me. And that's the thing that I started thinking about, as we are in this month, we're celebrating Black History Month. And I think about the great leaders or the people that we know of, the African Americans, the blacks that have stepped out of their comfort zone, where discomfort is no longer our concern, was no longer their concern. I think about the Harriet Tubmans and Martin Luther Kings and John Lewis's of the world that have stepped out of what was comfortable or what some people felt was comfortable, but they had to show up to make people uncomfortable in a way to allow them to be able to do something different, show up differently in the world, to become allies for the African Americans, for whatever communities that we have. There was that opportunity for them to step out of their discomfort because in that moment, discomfort was no longer the concern. It was that opportunity for them to say, I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to make changes. I'm here to make this a world that works for all. And when we think about that opportunity, what they've done in their past is no different than what we can now do when we step into what we are truly being called to do. I think about in this time of here in Georgia and having the opportunity to go to the conference, and that was the first time that I went to the CSL conference in person. And it was such an amazing energy there to experience the people that were there, the ministers that are there, the practitioners, the lay people that are part of this amazing community. And that wasn't everybody that showed up, but there was a large number of people that were there. And people that I see in the little boxes, the little Zoom boxes, and then, to finally see them in person. And you think, oh my gosh, that person's like that tall. Or it's like, or I didn't realize that that's who you are. Or to kind of come to this place of we're Facebook friends, but we've never met in person. And to see people in person, it really opened up my heart to be able to know that there is a community that's out there, several communities that are out there bringing and doing this work, answering their call, stepping into their discomfort and allowing people to showing them ways of how to come out of how to walk through their discomfort as well. Because when this calling happens, that Spirit is giving us that we're called to do. As the saying goes, you can run, but you can't hide. Because no matter where you go, it's still going to be with you because it's within you. Allow yourself to be able to open up to that calling. Listen, feel for it, pray, do your spiritual practices, your meditation on it. It's like if you get something that says, the Spirit says to write this book, do a meditation on it. We have that opportunity to also have a conversation with what you're being called to do. If you're being called to write a song, Lisa, another song, ask the song, what does it want to tell the world? What is it that you want people to feel when they hear the song? Even with a book, talk to the book. You may not even know the title, but talk to that book and ask, what is it that when I write this book that I want people to get from this? How do I want people to feel when they read this book? Or even when we start a spiritual group or a nonprofit organization, have a conversation with that you're being called to do. It will answer, it will give you information. Write it down. Don't be afraid to ask. And the thing about it is that we always can go to that spirit, to spirit within us and ask, what is my part in this? How am I to show up? And then also show me what support systems do I have that are in place to help me to get this nonprofit out there, to get this book out there, to get whatever it is that we're being called to do. What other resources are available? What else can I tap into in order to do what I'm called to do? Get out of your comfort zone. That comfort zone is like it's becoming uncomfortable right now. I know for me, it's like things that I'm being called to do and moves that I'm being called to make. I'm being pulled out of my comfort zone. And no matter how much I think that, oh, I got this, I'm bold, I'm confident, I can move through this. There's this part of me, it's like, oh, heck, no, you're not. We're not doing this right now. And really, like, Deb, you really want to go through and you want to start a new job. And I think about it because I'm 60. I turned 61 this year. You want to start a new job at 60, at 61. Does it matter when or how it happens? No, it doesn't. We give it a meaning. We make it mean something because of age or because of our race or because of where we live or because of education or whatever it is. We make it mean something. But there is that within us that knows exactly what we are capable of doing, how we're capable of showing up. We have to be willing to come out of our comfort zone to listen to what we're being called to do. Are you ready to step into what Spirit is truly calling you to do? Discomfort is the least of our concerns right now. And I will keep saying that and think about that as you are stepping into something new, stepping into new relationships, stepping into new spiritual communities, creating whatever it is, growing your spiritual community that you have here now, inviting more and more people into your spiritual community. What is it that may feel uncomfortable in inviting other people into your community, into your world? What is it that feels uncomfortable for you to be able to do that? Step out of that. This is that time right now to say, okay, this is my intention. Set the intention. This is what I'm calling forth. Go within and ask, how do I bring in more people into congregants into this community? What is it that I'm to do? Allow your community, when you go within, ask the question, how do I bring in more people? How do I create a network outside of this community that draws in more people? There are so many opportunities, but we think about in our own mind of the fear that we think sometimes, oh, well, I don't know if I can do that. I don't really want to go and talk to people. I don't want to go over here and interact with this person. But how else will people know who you are? Network. I have a friend of mine, and it's like, and we talk about going to every state, every city pretty much has a chamber of commerce. There are opportunities for whatever it is that you want to do, that there are chamber people that are available that you can network with and communicate with and get new ideas from. But there has to be a willingness to step out of your comfort zone in order to be able to meet these individuals, to talk to these people, to get these ideas, to be able to find a safe person to be able to network with, to maybe communicate with. Heck, you even create a prayer partner out of it. You just never know. But the biggest thing is to get out of your own head and allow spirit, because as long as you're having that monkey mind conversation that's happening, you're not listening to spirit. You're not listening to what you're being called to do. I think about when we're driving sometimes, or for me, and I'm driving down this road, and all of a sudden I'll get this hit to say, turn left here. And I'm thinking, okay, Spirit says turn left. I turn left. And I end up in this place, like yesterday when I was coming from Charleston, I turned left and there was this restaurant that was over there. And we went into the restaurant to go and eat. It was some of the most wonderful food that I had ever tasted. I was like, their food was really good. And I had never heard of this restaurant before. It's a place that's called Toast All Day. And I didn't realize that I actually have one here in Savannah. And I didn't realize that until last night. But had I not made that turn and gone into that restaurant to taste the food that they had in there because I was trying to figure out what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? Spirit said, turn left here. Okay, I turned. And I was like, oh, the service was amazing. The waitress that was there, great customer service. I mean, she took care of people that were people that she knew. She even ran out to the car to give somebody, one of the customers, a box of their sugar that they brought in. She ran out to the car to give them that box of sugar. And I was like, that's great customer service, but that's God in action also. You're seeing God in action moving through so many different opportunities. And she told us that she was a retired nurse. And so now she's in the restaurant business, but she's being of service. How is being of service, how does that support you? When I think with me, it's like being this minister and practitioner and being of service to be able to, as Spirit gives me information, to be on this place to have this communication with you all this morning and other places. That's allowing me to be of service because I'm listening to Spirit. I'm listening to what I'm being called to do and to say. Because half the stuff that I wrote out last night or this morning, I've said some of it and other parts of it is just I'm listening. Like, okay, Spirit, this is what I'm to say. Discomfort is the least of our concerns. When you're here to be of service, when you're here to do the work that Spirit is calling you to do, get out of the comfort zone. There is no comfort zone because you can get comfortable and what you end up in a chair and say, can sit back and you watch other people passing by your window. And it's like, oh, I need to go and go to the store. I need to go and run out and go do this or create this. And I'll just sit here and watch TV for a while. And it's like, and all the while, it's like there's this thing that's in the back of your mind. It's time. It's time. It's time to start moving. Get out of your comfort zone. Step into what you are being called to do. I am so grateful to be able to have this conversation with you all because this is this is talking to me. It's speaking to me. So I can't, I have permission to talk about me. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I get to bring my life into this community. And hopefully that what I bring, it empowers you to be able to do something different, to listen and to know that you are created for greatness. This is your time right now. Regardless of the circumstances, the situations, the age, the whatever is going on in our bodies, this is the time right now. I think about when COVID hit and we were all locked in. And I keep thinking, during that time, it created some of the most amazing experiences that we are seeing right now. Because how many times, how would I be able to be able to do this conversation with you all today if it wasn't through Zoom, unless I was there in Austin? Or for other people to be able to tune in and tap in to so many other spiritual communities and stuff around the world, not just in our cities and states, but around the world, to be able to tap into even when there's so many people creating podcasts right now. And it's like you turn around, everybody is doing a podcast, but they had to be able to step out of their comfort zone to know, oh, I can do this. I want to be able to have conversations with other people. Let me get out of the way of being shy about talking to other people. Now I have a platform. There are so many opportunities that are showing up, even people working remotely. There are companies that have said in the past, oh no, you can't work remote. That does not exist. Now it does. People had to get out of that place of being comfortable, get out of that comfort zone to be able to now step into working from home, being able to create their own businesses from home. This is the time. Get out of the way. Discomfort is truly the least of our concerns. So as I wrap this up, I'm grateful for this opportunity. In the Science of Mind magazine for this month, There's a place that's in there, and this was on February 8th, and Reverend Dr. Andrea Earl, she wrote the message for the month. And for this particular one that resonated with me, we are all accountable for setting right the truth of our past and working to create a just and fair future. This is a call out to everyone in divine discomfort, everyone with a heart for freedom, for justice, and equality. And that's within our own selves, not just with other people, but with our own selves. There is a higher calling for us to be and do from an intention of freedom, peace, justice, and equality for all. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to step into? How does what you're willing to do service a world that works for all? And so I'm grateful for this time and grateful for you all listening. And so now it's like as we go into prayer, I just allow you to take a deep breath in and just let that breath go. And Lisa, thank you. And just knowing that right here and right now, that God truly is in control, that there is only the one life, and that life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. That life is the life of each and every person right here. Each and every person, each and every animal, each and every tree, blades of grass, the sand, the water, it's all God. And knowing that as we are in this right now moment, I'm grateful for this divine outcome, knowing that there is a freedom in moving through that discomfort. There is that freedom in knowing that God has me. There is a freedom within me that knows that I can do whatever it is that Spirit is calling me to do, even with knees knocking, maybe falling down on the floor, having temper tantrum. It doesn't matter because what I know is that the answer is yes. That Spirit calls, taps me on the shoulder, and I know the answer is yes. Even in the midst of everything that may show up that seems like something is out of order, or that I may not be good enough, or that this may not work out, do it anyway, was what I hear. Like the Nike symbol says, just do it. Get out of the way of our own thinking. Allow Spirit to guide you, guide us into that place of what it's calling us to do. What I know is that in this right now moment, as we allow our hearts to just open fully to what we are being called to do, we give that love to ourselves because even in that place of discomfort, that there is that opportunity for us to love ourselves up in that place. Even if the tears fall, if we start shaking and nervous as I don't know what, we still move into what we're called to do. We call forth our support systems that are there, that hold us up, that walk side by side with us, because Spirit has sent these individuals, these opportunities for us to say, continue to say yes to what we're being called to do. Discomfort is truly the least of our concerns. When we're trusting God, discomfort is the least of our concerns. When we're saying yes, discomfort is the least of our concerns as we are moving forward into that we're called to do. We don't need to be pulled in a way that's painful, and sometimes it may feel it, but it's painful because we're not surrendering. Surrender into what we're called here to do. Allow your yes to be so loud that it moves you forward every moment. Allow Spirit to whisper into your ear, go left. Stop at this building right here. Start writing out what you're being called to do. Create a plan. Create the what. Ask the what, how do you serve? How does it serve you? I am grateful for this time that I say yes to continue living this life that I've been created here to do. I say yes to the skills and talents that I have within me to know how to best utilize those skills and talents in the world, even if I don't know in my mind right here and right now. I know God knows. And I know God puts the right and perfect people and opportunities in my path right here, right now, in order for this opportunity, this experience to show up. I am so grateful for this time that we have here together. For I know that everything truly works out for our highest and best good. When we get out of our comfort zone, step into the yes, watch it grow, watch our lives evolve. How good it is to know and to trust that within us that's got our back always, in always. And so I'm just grateful for this time together. And I just knowingly release this word to the law, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God. Even before the prayer, even before the talk happened, it's already done. Even before the thought came to your mind, it's already done. So I know that my words cannot return to me void. I know that it is done unto me as we believe. And I'm so grateful for this. And I allow it to be. And I anchor this with, and so it is. Amen.